John asks a really good question about the kingdom of God on earth. What did Jesus mean when he taught us to pray, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven"? I'm asking because in John 18:36, Jesus told Pilate, "My kingdom is not of this world." What is the difference in what Jesus taught us to pray and what he told Pilate about his kingdom? Isn't that a great question? Okay. When Jesus taught us to pray in Matthew chapter 6, verse 10, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven," it was not only a definition of the kingdom. The kingdom is doing God's will out of obedience and love for God. But it was an invitation to have the kingdom come partly and incrementally through our lives. Many back at that time were expecting that the kingdom would come suddenly and totally for the whole world. Many of them expected it would come by force and by army. And so that's what they were looking, because that's the way the kingdom of the worlds operate. An army would come in, they would set up force and control, and they would now be the reigning kingdom. And Jesus inaugurated a kingdom in a very different way. It was person by person and heart by heart, so that it would spread incrementally as we live out God's will and love others like he loved us. So in Jesus' reply to Pilate, when he said, "My kingdom is not of this world," if my kingdom were of this world, then my servants would be fighting so that I would be not handed over to the Jews. By the way, let me say again, he's not talking about the Jewish people, the ethnic race of the Jews. Jesus was a Jew. His disciples were a Jew. This is not about the Jews being bad people. This is not anti-Semitic. He's talking about those in authority, the Jewish authorities, because this was about power. This wasn't about religion or race. But, he said, "As it is, my kingdom is not of this realm." And he was saying, in essence, my kingdom won't be established like the kingdoms of this world. They won't be established by power and by force and by might. My kingdom is spiritual. It will be established in the hearts of its subjects like it is in heaven. It was ironic that even in his answer, Jesus was inviting Pilate to understand a different kind of kingdom. And if you read further, to recognize a different kind of king. We are subjects of a spiritual realm. And acting out its values in the human world is what we do. We will be fulfilled by our going home to heaven, where all of the population will proclaim Christ as King, and not just a portion of the population we know in the world we now inhabit. But until that time, little bit by little bit in our lives, a little bit by little bit in our relationships, we establish Christ as Lord of our lives, and we extend his kingdom incrementally right here.